We have Yuntian Deng talking about image to markup generation with Coarse to fine attention.
Hi, my name is Yuntian Deng. Today I'm going to talk about image to markup generation with Coarse to fine attention. This work is done in collaboration with NC Canavesito, Jeffrey Lin, and Professor Alexander Rush. So let me begin with a code on document generation. Real text is not disembodied. It always appears in context. As soon as we begin to consider the generation of text in context, we immediately have two continuous issues of typography and orthography and prosody. This is perhaps most obvious in the case of systems that generate both text and graphics and attempt to combine this in sensible ways. Recently, there have been a lot of successful applications of multimodal generation image to text, such as natural OCR and image caption. So although the input is of a different model, say namely images, the output is still unstructured text. In this work, we are considering the task of image to markup generation, where both the input and output is structured. So here is an example of our task. Given an image of a formula, the goal is to produce the text that can render back to that formula. So in order to solve this task in a neural way, we have to construct a large enough data set to support training a model. So we construct a data set, image to the text 100,000. Here are a few examples taken from our data set. So basically the data set consists of a few images paired with the text formulas. The data set is quite challenging. It consists of subscripts, superscripts, large brackets, arrays, as well as fractions. Our dataset was originally developed by my co-author Ansi. It was used for OpenAI request for research, and later on we developed a model that solves this task. This dataset was taken from the LaTeX sources of archive papers on high-energy physics. We extract the formulas with regular equations, then we run that in a vanilla LaTeX environment. The dataset consists of around 100,000 instances, and the median length of the LaTeX formula is around 100 characters. In order to set up a baseline for this dataset, we adapted the attention-based image captioning model. That model mainly consists of two parts: an encoder CNN for extracting the image features, as well as a decoder RNN to produce the LaTeX output. The contact vector CT is obtained by the attention mechanism, so we are attending over the source feature map at each step of the generation, and we summarize that into a context vector. The objective here is to maximize the log output of the ground truth. In order to better suit the needs for this particular task, we add a row encoder to explicitly encode the spatial information. So the row encoder is basically RNNs over each row of the feature map with shared parameters. But for different rows, we initialize them with different row embeddings to capture the information in the vertical direction. This model was able to do a pretty decent job in this task, and we show one step of the generation. So for example, say we are about to produce the output symbol L. We first attend over the image. We show the attention weights here, and then we summarize based on the attention weights, and we produce the final output. So this is an L. However, with the vanilla attention mechanism, at each step of the generation, we need to look at the whole image. So we present a more efficient solution to this by borrowing ideas from probabilistic inference, namely coarse to fine inference. So here is the idea. So basically we are superimposing a coarse grain grid over the original grid. And when we are producing each output, we first pick up the rough region in which the symbol is likely to appear. And then we constrain ourselves to that particular region. We generate the attention rates again, and we produce the final output. Here is how we actually implement that in our model. First, we rename our original features as the fine features, and then we stack additional convolution layers as well as pooling layers on top of our original CNN to produce coarse features, which are basically smaller feature maps. At each step of the generation, we first use the decoder hidden state to attend to the coarse features to pick up a coarse cell with hard attention. And then we can train ourselves to the fine cells only within the selected coarse cell. We consider two variants of this model. The first one, reinforced, which basically uses hard attention to select a single coarse cell, the presenting model. And the other one is sparse-max, which uses sparse activation function sparse-max instead of softmax to select multiple coarse cells. So the sparse-max can be trained in a vanilla backpropagation way, but the hard attention needs to be trained in a reinforced algorithm. So here are our experiment details. We first tokenize and normalize our formulas to produce a sequence of symbols and reduce the ambiguities in the text. For evaluation method, we use exact image match accuracy by comparing the render prediction against the original image, and we see whether they are exactly the same or not. We implemented our code in Torch based on an OpenMT system. Here are our baseline results. CTC denotes connectionist temporal classification, which was discussed in one of the previous presentations. It was widely used in the natural OCR, but it assumes a left-to-right generation order, which is unsuitable in this case, since we have fractions as well as arrays. Here is a commercial system entity reader. It achieves slightly better performance. The attention-based image capturing model achieves much better performance, and by adding the row encoder to encode the spatial information, we boost the accuracy by a further 20%. Here we show the results of the coarse-to-fine attention variance. In addition to the exact match accuracy, I also show the average number of fine cells and the average number of coarse cells being attended to over the test step. So for the original image-to-text model, there are no coarse cells, but on average, we need to attend to around 300 coarse cells per each step. We also consider only using the coarse feature map, in which case there are no fine cells, but on average, we need to attend to around 20 coarse cells. But we see a large performance drop, which indicates that we really need the fine-grained feature map in order to achieve a good performance on this task. So here we use both the coarse and fine cells. We use soft attentions for both the coarse cells and the fine cells. And we found that the performance is almost identical to that of the original model, indicating that the hierarchical decomposition doesn't occur much. So here are our coarse-to-fine sparse-max results. So we can see that it attends to much fewer number of fine cells, but the performance is very similar to the image-to-text model. And it's the coarse-to-fine reinforced variant, it attends to even fewer number of fine cells with a slightly drop in accuracy. There are some qualitative errors our model made. On the first row, the model is missing some part of the formula. On the second row, the image is getting some errors on the sizes of the brackets. On the third row, there is some alignment issues. On the fourth and the fifth rows, there are some issues with subscripts and superscripts. And further on, we want to apply our model to handwritten formulas. We want to evaluate them on the well-established from 13 and 14 handwritten datasets. The problem with these datasets is that the training set only consists of around 8,000 instances, which are too small to support training a neural model. So we, based on the original image to the 100,000 dataset, we synthesized handwritten formulas by replacing each individual symbol with the handwritten symbols taken from the Textified project. We use this for pre-training, and we fine-tune that on the current training size, and we evaluate. Here are the results on the current dataset. So the three models shown here are three of the four best-performing systems to the submissions. And both our image-to-text and the coarse-to-fine reinforced models are able to outperform them. So the top-performing system, MyScript, gets even better performance by using a large private in-domain handwritten training dataset. And we observe similar results on the Chrome 14 datasets, although the coarse-to-fine reinforced gets a slightly worse performance. WAP is a follow-up work by Zhang et al., Watcher, and Coarse, which uses a more powerful encoder and gets better performance compared to ours. So, in conclusion, we constructed a dataset image to the text 100,000, which is really rich, structured, and challenging. We present a case study of multimodal data recognition or generation, and the presented coarse-to-fine attention can be applied to other texts as well. So imagine if you are doing document summarization, you can treat each document as a sequence of sentences, and you can first do a coarse attention over the sentences and do a fine attention over the individual words in the sentences. Our code is public as part of the OpenMT project, and we provide more visualizations on our project website. Thank you.
All right, so a couple questions. This type of application is one which has many similarities with other natural language problems where memory is very valuable. For example, there's some syntactic structure to these LaTeX documents. But it didn't look like you had really focused on that problem in your work. Can you comment on that?
No.
No, because my question didn't make sense.
Sorry, can you repeat the question again?
Okay, so would things like memory modules be useful in your architecture?
Memory modules? You mean the coarse-to-fine attention?
Let me move on to a different question. Right now, your loss function during training looks to see exact match versus not. And one can imagine for very long LaTeX or very complex expressions might be very hard to get a positive signal. Did you have to use any type of curriculum training during training, or to, for example, present much simpler images at first?
No, there are no curriculum training involved in this. I just use SGD and there are no curriculums.
You don't think it would help in this instance?
I think that might help if if we consider even more difficult tasks, such as if you want to recognize a whole page of document or even a large table. But for those formulas, I think it's simple enough that we can start from scratch to train a model.
So right now, one could imagine that there might be a lot of text in these expressions, which is very easy to transcribe, whereas the sort of syntactic structure could be very challenging. Yet your approach doesn't seem to take into account, so if you had seen, for example, a word or a set of characters that you'd never seen in your training sets, you would struggle there, or at least it would seem. Are there ways to try to generalize better by recognizing that there are sequences that...
you mean the syntax structure with the output frame? So in my work, I treat it as a sequence-to-sequence problem, so there are no such modeling involved. But I think it's possible to do the decoding, say, in a hierarchical way, in which we consider the syntactic tree structure in this problem. But the major goal of my model is to set up a baseline for this data type. So I think it's worth further exploring this.
Any other questions? All right, thanks, speaker.